Hello and welcome back. This is Insti and I'm continuing playing Sherlock Holmes, Jack the Ripper. Yes, and last episode we we were going on this Mitre Square and the back alley and investigated a few of the crime scenes and collected some evidence. And if I remember correctly, now we are trying to get mannequins and clothing and make a model of our killer. So I think one was Watson's suit, if I remember correctly. So let's see what we can find. Okay, we have something here. Apparently we grabbed these two. And what do we have here? I'll grab everything I can. I think I have everything from now, at least for now. I can't open the other doors. Okay. So I'm guessing I don't have to go and buy.
We shall place our mannequins here, Watson.
So I don't, like I was saying, I guess I don't have to go outside and buy the mannequins, which is good, because I wouldn't even know where to buy those. I think we go to the Holmes room. He has quite a lot of stuff we need. Anything else? There might be something. No, there's nothing there. Oh, mannequin. Anything?
A wig. This will come in handy.
Yes, Watson. I think we have already collected 3 wigs. If I'm not mistaken. I think we have everything from here. So, oh. There's the third mannequin. And do we need anything else?
So, as for one of the murders, we have no witnesses whatsoever. As for the 3 other, we have at least one person who claims to have seen the victims talking to a man a few minutes before their death. Do you remember whom these would be, Watson?
Apply the height, the age, the clothing to the mannequins, basing yourself on the 3 correct witnesses. I think he had some information about the person. 5'7", light complexion, fair mustache. Yes. So who's the second and third one? Did Constable Smith have something? Indeed, but it was before the murder. I saw her not far from here. She was talking to a man. I was around 12:30 to 12:35 a.m. But the man looked like, only saw him from behind. Really, he was wearing. He was wearing short black outfit, small felt hat, like a cap in a dark color and a white collar. He seemed to be in a respectable type, carrying packet in his hand. Okay, that is definitely. So who would be the third one? Right. Could it be in documents? I mean, let's try Tumblety. Letter to Tumbling? No, I don't think that's it. Okay, these are only... who would be the... Well, we have testimonies. Okay, did these include anything? The witness resides 27 Hanbury. On the morning of the murder, the witness got up 5:15 a.m. and went into the yard where the latrine was. Okay, heard voices from behind the fence. No, he went to the yard. So he did not see anyone. Church Street. Passing down Amber Street. As she saw a man and woman talking, it should be noted that the witness identified the body of Annie Chapman at the morgue as being the aforementioned woman. The man's scene with the victim is described by the witness as follows. Okay, this definitely has something. Okay, so I hope I have correct
Bravo,
ones.
Watson. There are our 3 witnesses.
Okay. Height. 5'7".
There is an error, Watson. Let's reread Abraham's testimony.
I know he said 5'3" first, but then he corrected to 5'7". But the age, of course, is wrong. I think I have it on my paper. I don't have the rest of those, but I have this, if I remember correctly. Around 30 years, 5'7". There is the problem, though. The man was about 3 inches taller than a woman who was 5 feet tall, no more. So that would be 5'3", but in here we have 30 years old, 5'7". So around 30 years old. Light complex and fair mustache. He wore a loose dark jacket, grey cap, red scarf. Could it be this? Grey cap. Blonde. There's a three. I think it's... So let's try the 5'3" then.
Indeed, Watson, that's the right size for Abraham's mannequin. The account given by Mr. Solomonovich's friend is incorrect in at least one point. The first Joseph said that the man was at least 5'7" tall. The second Joseph said he was 3 inches taller than the victim, whom we know was 5 feet tall, which would suggest a height of 5'3". Don't forget that it was this second Joseph who attracted his friend's attention towards the couple on the other side of the road. We can assume he got a very good look at them.
Okay, but is this loose fitting? What about this?
Excellent. Now on to the next step.
Okay, apparently this was correct. Because yeah, that wasn't loose fitting. Dust field. In the only song from behind, 5'8", barely 30 years old, or even less. Small dark brown mustache and olive complexion, I should say. But once again, I only got... Let's start with that. Less than 30 30. So let's go with 28. 5'7". Dark brown wig, I think. So let's go again. He was wearing a short black outfit, a small felt hat like a cap in a dark color and white color. He seemed to be a respectable type. He was barely 30, 28 or even less, 26 years old. I don't know, 5'8", sorry. 5'8". And it has to be almost this then. Cap. Would it be this?
Excellent. Now on to the next step.
Okay, so I had to just test with the age. And the last one. At least 40 years old. Why don't I actually type this? Well, it's still a little taller than the woman with whom he was discussing, approximately 5 feet 3 inches. So quite similar to this. Actually similar, same.
As for young P.C. Smith's account, he must have been mistaken about this person's real height. It is only an inch or two after all, and we can attribute the same height as the other two.
Definitely, and well, we only have this left. So, dear stalker had a dark coat out at this point, general appearance of the working class, dark hair and mustache, dark face. Dark hair, mustache, and...
Excellent. Now on to the next step.
What is the next step? Apply the height and age and the clothing to mannequins, basing yourself on the 3 correct witnesses. Oh, do I need to...
Bravo, Watson. Our mannequins have been recreated based on the correct accounts. Now, Watson, let's see in what ways these statements differ and how the witnesses could have been mistaken. Let's look at these wigs and moustaches. Let's start by taking the first Joseph's testimony, who saw the man head-on in a well-lit spot and in which he noted fair hair. Now, let's consider the same person, but in the lighting and angle of the other 2 witnesses, in the darkness of night, with poor artificial lighting from above. Put out the light, Watson.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely we are going what the eyewitnesses saw and how it can change depending on the lighting.
Thus, poor lighting and a backlit subject can affect our perception of shades and colours. The wigs from Abraham's mannequin took on the same colour as the other 2. The 3 testimonies, therefore, don't contradict one another, and we can apply the same facial hair to all 3 mannequins. Turn on the light, Watson.
Okay. So I guess it's the dark hair? Or, wait a minute. No. Blonde works also. Well, it would have said it if I was correct, so it has to be blonde.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Well done, Watson. With regards to the murderer's hair, the 3 witnesses should agree on Abraham's testimony. As Joseph is the only one who saw our man in full light, his hair must therefore be fair. You see, Watson, it is hard to draw objective conclusions when one is an eyewitness to an event. This leads us to reconsider the various statements regarding the supposed age of the man. Even if you are face to face with someone in full light and for a period of several hours, to what extent can you determine their exact age? And even more so if you observe them for only a few seconds and or from behind. We must allow some flexibility when considering our witnesses' statements, but always scientific flexibility.
Okay, what's that supposed to mean at the moment? Obviously we need to... Oh, okay. Tolerance of years 3 to 5, 7 to 10, and 7 to 10. So we have 35 to 25 to 35. Can I see if I... Well, it can't be older, so probably I have to put 26. I don't know.
Don't forget that, according to Abraham, the man was seen face on from a few feet away by the first Joseph, who shouldn't be out by more than a few years. For Abraham's mannequin, we should allow a margin of 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years, so that would be 26 to 31. No. Okay. So are we... So this is the baseline, obviously. So 4 years and 4 years. So this would be 3 years and 3 years. Am I getting that correctly? So it would be 27 and 33. Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay, yes. Now I see it. So 27 and 33.
Perfect, Watson.
So 26, 16 and 36. So 9 would be 17 and 35. Yeah, my brains are a little bit hazy at the moment. So we have 17 and 35, so 18 and 34. No, wrong way. 18 and 34. Because yes, we are going downwards. And then it would be obviously 19 to 33, so 7 plus 19 is 26. So 19. And what did I say? 19 and 33, yes.
Excellent. Now, on to the next step.
So 40 and 10, 10. So 30 and 35. So it would be 31, obviously, and 49. So that would be 48. No, 30. 48. Why do I even count this? Basically, it goes like this. I really don't need to count anymore.
Perfect, Watson.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Now that we have fully considered the witness accounts, let's see to what extent they agree. If we apply the range of error for each of our dummies, we can deduce the age of our murderer as precisely as possible.
Okay, what happens if I would say it's older than 30? But so what?
For Abraham's mannequin, we should allow a margin of 3 to 5 years.
So let's say I put 3 years more. So that would be 33. Seven years more. I'll start with these lower numbers. So 7 years more is 33, but it can't be 47 because the 40 is the highest that has been thought. So do I take that 7 off? So it would be 33. Maybe? If I'm understanding this correctly, I might be totally wrong.
Perfect, Watson. Within a margin of 1 year, Watson, the age of our murderer is 33 years.
But the man described by Smith was dressed respectably, whereas the other two were poorly dressed.
Indeed, but Whitechapel's respectively could quite easily describe the Sunday bests that all lower-class men own. Now, let's place ourselves in the shoes of Liz Stride's killer. He has just slain his victim and sees Louis Diemschutz discover her body. Our killer is at great risk if he stays in the area. He therefore gets away from this spot. But he wants to kill again. However, he might have been spotted in the area before having committed the murder by a constable on his round, perhaps, who managed to get his description. What do you think the killer will do?
What will Jack the Ripper do after committing the first murder in Dudfield's yard and before committing the second in Mitre Square? Find an accomplice to? No. Flee and? Well, obviously flee. Buy a disguise? Well, definitely not buy. Wait while on the premises and no, he would get caught. Throw his clothing in a sewer or a trash bin. Yeah, but then he would be running naked. Return to home or to safe location. Well, safe location maybe. Enter in a pub. No, nobody went into the pub. Nothing. It's not he who committed the second murder. That's incorrect. Look for another victim. Commit the second murder in his place. No. Wait a moment before searching for another victim. Change and go look for another victim. Escape without being recognized as quickly as possible. So I need to have two things. The leading part and the ending part. This was the police officer at the same night. Yes, this was the first victim. This was the second victim. And what did this Holmes say? Even the lowest of low have Sunday clothing, so he had to change. But still, that doesn't mean he's throwing clothing in sewer or trash bin, because he has to have clothing to change too. So pub is not probably not a possibility. Neither is. He couldn't wait. He couldn't buy. Flee is quite the same to this. No accomplice. I'll go with the return home or to safe location and location and ask quickly. Well, that doesn't work. Escape and escape without being recognized. Well, that's vague. That doesn't really tell us what will happen before the next killing. Change and go look for another victim. That is the most likely one, because obviously he changed the clothing. And obviously he found another victim. Wait a moment before searching for another victim. Well, he's doing that while changing. So basically they're the same with a little twist. But he had to change. That's the definitive. Commit the second murder in his place. That didn't happen. That we know it didn't happen in his place. It happened on the Mitre Square. And this obviously goes with the look at another victim with this. Nothing, it's not. So I'm guessing change and go look another victim, because we do know he changed clothing. If we believe the police about his clothing, and definitely the other eyewitnesses definitely saw his clothing. So I would go with chains and go look for another victim.
Go back home or to a safe location, change his clothes and leave again in search of another victim.
It's the only possible explanation, Watson. The man returned to the safety of his lodgings and then decided to go out again with new clothes and repeat his sinister nocturnal work. That's how the discrepancies between the witnesses with regards to clothing can be explained.
What a cold-blooded animal.
And what determination! Powerful motives are pushing this man. Thus, we can conclude that the respectable man with the package may very well have been seen by the two Josephs.
Even if it is just a mannequin, it's giving me goosebumps. But have we really made any progress, Holmes? I mean, there must be thousands of men in Whitechapel who match this description, wouldn't you say?
You're right, Watson. We have worked on who, now let's work on where. We need a map of Whitechapel, and please also find me a pencil, 2 compasses, one of which can draw ellipses.
Okay, this is going to be very interesting. Yeah, I think there's that tool, yes. Because he almost has to live very close by between the Mitre Square and the alley. What else did we need to?
I am in need of something.
Yes, you are. What do I have? I have a pencil and 2 compasses. Did I need something else? Oh, I can put this. The Whitechapel killer had a time to kill Elstride and Catherine Eddowes. Oh, what can I do? Jack the Ripper offered a gift to each of these victims before killing them. Jack the Ripper diverted the attention of his victims before killing them. The victims knew each other and had things in common. No. Chapman had a holding envelope. Eddowes murder unfeeling. Wait, come on, what? Oh, Eddowes held a thimble in her hand. Diverted. Partly is stronger than her throat slit. Chapman's murderer is unfeeling and organized. Catherine Eddowes' murder is unfeeling and organized. The Whitechapel killer proceeded in the same way. The Whitechapel killer must have been accompanied. The Whitechapel killer extorted his victims. No, proceeded. It's not the same man who killed P. Nichols and A. Chapman. It's the same man who killed P. Nichols and A. Chapman. The Whitechapel killer has an accomplice. Wait a minute. No. A. Chapman murder is unfeeling and organized. Unfeeling. Wait, what is the Chapman and Penn Nichols? Strangled. The problem is I'm almost still certain it's the same person. I'll check. It's the same person. Although there are differences between A. Chapman and P. Nichols, but still, I would say they are the same person. It's just that he's changing more violent. It's the same man who killed Elstride and C. Eddowes. Jack the Ripper has an accomplice. It's not the same man who... Well, it's the same man. P. Nichols killer is a strong man. It's the same man. And the Elstride killer is a strong man. Jack the Ripper possesses great physical force. Jack the Ripper is a corpulent man. Jack the Ripper is a tall man. Well, he's not tall. Corpulent is a word I don't know. I have to check. Oh. Well, he's not a fat man. Okay. So, definitely a strong man. Although those could be mutual, but great physical force. What do we have? Murder search Eddowes, murder search Chapman. The murderer was looking for money or objects of value. No, I don't think so. The murderer was looking for something that the victim stole from... No, the murderer was setting up a ritual around the bodies. Oh, that's a problematic. I don't think he was stealing anything, so ritual maybe? Murders... Well, he stole the rings. What happens if I... Apparently there was looking for money or object of value. I should have realized from there. So it definitely shows if I have chosen correct. But it doesn't feel like he's stealing. But the Whitechapel killer is poor. The Sea Eddowes murder is a fetishist. The Whitechapel killer collects trophies. Well, trophies definitely. But it's not right. So it's poor. Okay. Okay. I wasn't correct on those situations. Eddowes' piece of paper was found in the Coulson Street near the message accusing Jews. The Whitechapel killer left a message accusing the Jews in Coulson Street. Okay. Jack the Ripper wants to accuse someone who lives in Coulson Street. Jack the Ripper has a score to settle with the Jewish community. Jack the Ripper wants to put the police on the wrong track. It could be both. It almost feels like personal. It could be also, well, it is apparently settle score, but it could have been also to let, well, it's still trying to get them on the wrong track. So, okay. But what were we actually doing? We were actually trying to find map.
I am in need of something.
First of all, let's place our 4 murders on this map, as well as the spot where the graffito appeared and the piece of apron was dropped.
Okay. Coulson Street, Hanbury Street, Tutfield's Yard, Bucks Row, Mitre Square. Polly Nichols, was it Hanbury Street? Oh, no. No, he was in the... Polly Nichols is not in Hanbury Street. It was the... Chapman. Chapman was 29 Hanbury Street. So... And Stride was in Dustfield, if I remember correctly. And Bucks Row, I can't remember who was there. Well, it's either Polly Nichols or Catherine Eddowes. Looking at the pictures, I would say Catherine Eddowes is the one in the Mitre Square. So let's try with this. And then Graffito was in here.
Perfect, Watson. Let's connect each crime scene to the one out of the others that is the furthest.
So... Okay, pencil. What do I do? So do I just go like this? This reminds me of Gabriel Knight 3 and the computer puzzle. Hopefully I'm doing this correctly. Oh, no. Can I... Is that a... I need a center line, I think. So let's try like this. Nope. Yeah, I need a point where the lines intersect, I think.
You see, Watson, the murders aren't grouped together, but seem to be spread out like cardinal points around a central zone. The killer obviously wanted to avoid returning to the previous scenes of his crimes, assuming that they would be more closely watched or that he could be recognized.
So the killer lives at the centre of this cross.
In the vicinity, most certainly, but how near? We cannot afford to get it wrong. If you concentrate, Watson, you will notice that the murders are roughly equidistant from the intersection point of the diagonals. Let's focus on the night of the double murder. Remember, Watson, it took us 20 minutes to get from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square. Let's draw a line from one to the other.
So a line from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square, okay?
Perfect. We didn't make the trip as the crow flies, but that would not harm our estimate. Let's suppose the killer left Dutfield's Yard at 1 a.m. and arrived in Mitre Square at 1:35 a.m. when he was seen by the two Josephs. If he took 5 minutes to change his clothes, that leaves a range of 10 minutes to determine where this man's lodgings are. We must determine the area in which one can go from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square in less than half an hour. To do this, let's draw an ellipsis. The length between Dutfield's Yard and Mitre Square corresponds to 20 minutes. By adding half, we get a distance of 30 minutes. By taking the two right segments, each starting from the two murder scenes, and which the sum of the lengths makes 30 minutes, we get our ellipses.
Okay. Let's see. So we know the route is 20 minutes. Apparently this. How does this work? And half more? No. No. So this is 20 minutes. Where do I start? There's the Goulston Street. Did I need that too? Okay, what did the... To do this, let's draw ellipses. The length between Dutfield's Yard and Mitre Square correspond to 20 minutes. By adding half, we get the distance of 30 minutes. By taking the two right segments, each starting from the two murder scenes, and which the sum of the lengths make 30 minutes, we get our ellipses. Okay. Oh, we need to cover these both, so probably somewhere here. Is it supposed to be ellipses? Nope, that's not what I want. Somewhere I need to have this quite middle. I don't know how close it should be. Or do I need... It's somewhere over here. Maybe a little bit... No, that's not what I'm looking for. I have a vague recollection what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not still certain. Well, this has both. And then I need half more. But I'm not certain if this is correct. Do I need to do another here? No.
There we are, Watson. Our killer lives in this area.
It's still rather a vast area, Holmes.
Yes, indeed. And our goal is to reduce this area as much as we can. We must consider the fact that the murder at Mitre Square was committed under a certain amount of pressure, given that the killer knew he was wanted for the acts he committed not long before. We can assume that he had to do it in a safe zone, that is, an area not far from where he lives. This is especially true of an act such as the graffiti he carried out after 2 murders. Let's trace a circle around this point, with the distance separating it from Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us to determine our killer's safe zone.
Again, I have no idea what just happened, but apparently I managed to get the correct areas inside. I was trying to get the lines go middle of these, but apparently I need... Okay. Better not question about it. So what do we need to do now? I'll check the... Okay. Let's trace a circle around this point with the distance separating it from Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us to determine our killer's safe zone. So it has to be, yeah, okay, so we need to get them. The fact that the murder at Mitre Square was committed under a certain amount of pressure, given that the killer knew he was wanted of the acts he committed not long before. We can assume that he had to do it in a safe zone, that is, an area not far from where he lives. This is especially true of an act such as the graffiti he carried it out after 2 murders. Let's trace a circle around this point with the distance separating it from the Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us. So we need to... Do we start... Because the note was written last. So do I start from the note and circle Mitre Square? I'll try that. Oh. So... Do I need to...
Our killer must surely live inside this circle.
Okay.
Now, let's intersect it with the ellipsis that we previously determined.
What now? So let's leave in the circle. Now let's intersect it with the ellipsis that we previously determined. So, okay.
There we are, Watson, the Aldgate district.
Shouldn't we inform the police so that they can concentrate their efforts on this area of Whitechapel?
It is probably already crawling with inspectors, Watson, and I doubt that they would take us seriously, even if they were willing to listen to what we had to say. Let's focus instead on understanding the killer's modus operandi. We know our murderer preys on prostitutes who are penniless, weak, sick, or alcoholic, that he distracts them the moment before killing them, and that he left an anonymous message inciting anti-Semitic hatred at the entrance of a building occupied by Jews. How would you describe this man?
What a coward!
Indeed, he is a person of great cowardice. Let's look at his murders, and in particular the depredations on the corpses, putting aside that of Liz Stride, because on that occasion his work was left unfinished. If we recall the observations made on the victims and the parts that were mutilated or damaged on each of the bodies, without forgetting the fact that he also removed one or more organs, we can ascertain that our killer evolves during the course of the murders, cowardly and still evolving. And yet, look at the location of our first murder, that of Polly Nichols in Bucks Row. It is the most distant from the area our killer would appear to live. Perhaps this murder was preceded by another within the killer's area. I believe a cowardly killer would commit his first murder in an area close to his home in order to find refuge as quickly as possible on carrying out the act.
Holmes, an idea just occurred to me that fills me with dread. This evolution of which you speak.
He will pursue his next victim as long as the conditions permit him to continue killing Watson.
But how could one go even further in this horror? Look at what he did to that woman, Catherine Eddowes.
In order to avoid having to answer that question, we must act with haste and planning. Watson, I suggest you inform yourself on the mutilations sustained by the victims. We played with the idea that this could be an act of vengeance against prostitutes. If the mutilations correspond to areas affected by a specific pathology, perhaps the killer wanted to give an eye for an affliction he felt the prostitutes he knew were responsible for.
And this trail leading to Dr. Tumblety Holmes?
I also have a few things to look into in the meantime. I still have a primary witness to track down, not to mention old trails I've yet to pursue. See you soon, Watson. When we first spoke about the Bucks Row murder with Watson, he was reading a newspaper, The Star, dated September 1st, 1888, I believe, which mentioned similar murders in the preceding months. I have no chance of finding the police reports, but perhaps I could find some information at the Central News Agency. I must go there at once. Afterwards, I'll go back to see Abraham, the owner of the pet shop in Whitechapel. The second Joseph's statement would lead me to believe that he may know the man spotted on the corner of Church Passage that night. If that's the case, I must find this witness so I can question him.
Okay, to be honest, I was a bit lucky with the map. I think I remember that there was a area that would be a different color, but to be honest, I didn't realize how it worked. The ellipses thing I did not remember, but I do remember that that was an annoying puzzle in that regard, that you had to have it just so to work. And yeah, similar thing with the Gabriel Knight 3, although funny thing is that I find it much easier. Anyways, I digress. What can we do here? Can we do anything here? I'll probably do the news agency, depending how long it will take. I'm starting to be a little tired, and my brains are not working as well as they should. So okay, we just colored this area, so he's somewhere there. But the news agency, where was it? There.
Ah, Bulling is there. It won't hurt just this once.
Apparently we need to talk to him. Okay. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Bulling. So, did your colleague tell you about the tip?
What tip?
Ah, I see. I gave him an explosive tip and he went without you? Oh, that's not very sporting on his part. No doubt he took all of the credit for his discovery.
You're winding me up, eh?
I must show Bulling something to make him believe me.
Okay, what do I need to show? I owe you. Oh, obviously.
What do you want?
Debt.
I'm not winding you up. The proof is that he gave me this advance on the debt.
That traitor! He owes me if I find him.
Before I leave, can you do me a favor?
Heck, tell me.
I'm looking for some reliable info on the murders committed in Whitechapel in the months before Polly Nichols' attack.
Reliable? Ha! You really think you'll find that here? Fine. I'll be honest with you. We have folders that group the dispatches from the current year into categories. In the police law category, You'll find the transcripts from the trials and investigations that we sell to the newspapers that ask us.
Perfect.
Sadly, I am out of time. I'll leave you to solve it, eh? You're the detective, aren't you?
So what am I supposed to do? Let's go check this area first. Apparently there's much to interact with.
The dossiers are full of papers in dated envelopes. I can't open them. That would be too obvious. How can I tell which compartment to look in? No categories are indicated.
Okay, so I have to put these on the right places and then check. Can I get any help from here? There are quite a lot of things to interact. What do we have here? Stevenson and CIE Enterprise Bill repair the wood of the news in brief compartment, £1. I'll take that. Boot repair. News in brief. News in brief. Okay. What else? Sir, as the agency receives numerous dispatches, the filing system that you made appears to be too small, particularly for the world and society sections, which cover too much area and overflow into the boxes below, police and law and culture respectively. Would you be able to furnish a device in order to keep only one filing cabinet? While awaiting your response, sir, please accept our best wishes. So, world and society. And society overflow. Too much. To police and law. Not love, law. Okay. Okay, what do we have here? Wait a minute. Okay, here we are. Attention. The blue envelopes from the dispatch compartment contain confidential facts that must not be discussed in the news. As a reminder, they contain political personalities, essentially the royal family, and economic issues. These dispatches will be retained only to be diffused when Buckingham Palace or the ministers give us the authority. So, blue envelopes. Are politic persons, royal family. Okay. What else? We have there something, we have 3 there. Can I actually open this door? Probably not.
Closed.
Probably not. To improve the dispatch propose major info up high except news in brief, minor info down low except police and law. Thus, in future, propose also to invert news in brief, which is for the moment up high, and police law, which is actually down low. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. Put it with news in brief. So news in brief up high. Okay, what Major info up high except news in brief. Minor info down low except police low. Does in future propose also to invert news in brief, which is for a moment. Okay, so news in brief is up high now and police law is down. Yes. Down low. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. So weather almost empty. Yeah, I guess we end after done with this area because this will take a little while. What about this? Oh, my dear George, your little brother has had some misfortune. My first week of work was very grueling. First, I was given a spot far from the stove and I am very cold in the morning. Next, I have to sort through the dispatches. The most tedious and boring work imaginable. Once the work is done, I must take each envelope to the journalist in question, who won't even deign to look at me. Finally, at the end of my third day, the boss called me to his office to give me a sermon. It seems that I mixed up the dispatches. I was so worn out that could only protest half-heartedly. He gave me a second chance, so now I'm in a sticky situation. The only hopeful note comes from my colleague, Miss Filthin. A charming young woman who is the only one to give me a smile. She helps me as much as she can and tries to prompt me regarding which compartment I should put my dispatches. Because everyone here knows the order of the sections, but no one has bothered to tell me. The lady has so much compassion and slides me notes such as politics and society are on the side, sports is underneath economy, personalities is at the end of the row, front page news is the first compartment, etc. And these confidences are almost words of love from her mouth. I don't think that she likes placing the envelopes on the desks at all because she ends up with some thanks that are very disturbing. I have volunteered for the task, much to everyone's displeasure. Nothing new concerning my landlady, but I managed to pay her for the week and she consented to keep me. Don't say anything about my troubles to Mumsy. I don't want to alarm her, but not wanting to lie to her, I have chosen to not write. With warmest regards, yours brother, Albert. Okay, Albert. So, what do we have? Okay, what do we have? Politics, society. Do I already have that? I don't know, maybe. Politics, society is side. So it's sports under economy. Personalities, end of the row. What else? Front page news is the first compartment. So it's the first. Yeah, okay. Hopefully I can make something up I can read my notes compartment. Okay. Compartment and these conferences are almost words of love. I think that's enough, but we do have it if I missed something. There's still one more. Dear Ferdinand, I am confirming my presence on Friday evening at the club. It will be with pleasure because I must get my mind off things or risk falling into a black depression. Just imagine the new laddie still has the favors of that of Janet. But she'll end up forgetting him and giving into me because I am not lacking in ideas to get rid of her suitors. Yesterday I randomly placed a few inventions and science with politics dispatches. After all, they are always harebrained items. Given that the compartments are one on top of the other, it could have easily passed as one of the new lad's errors, and as anticipated, he was called in by the boss. As soon as I have the chance, I will show him how, like in the news, everything is in the balance. He looks like a half-wit. He could easily confuse the politics with the society section on his right, and this latter will with economy, which is its neighbor. What a lovely mess. I don't know how an intelligent girl like Janet can like a swot like him, but he doesn't have much longer to smile. Okay, a very nice person indeed. No idea why I read it like that, but I did it. So what do we have here? Placed few inventions and sizes with politics dispatches. After all, they are always harebrained items, given that the compounds are on top of the other. So inventions top, bottom. I don't know which side of politics. I'm guessing politics is top, but I don't know. I will show him how, like the news, everything is in the balance. He looks like a half-wit. He could easily confuse politics with the society section on his right. And economy, which is neighbor. Okay. Hopefully I can make something out of these, my notes, these little notes I scribbled. So is this everything? Before we continue, I'll take a quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, time to go and try to solve this puzzle. This reminds me of the puzzle from the Nemesis, Sherlock Holmes and the Nemesis, where you had to put people's names on their lockers and names. Okay, I'm stuck. So first things first, definitely first one was the what was it front page. I'll say this is the front page. Okay, one down, millions to go. And then we had the wood repair news in brief. I guess this looks new. So where's the news in brief? And oddities, okay. So what, those are down. I marked those off. Yes. What about news in brief up high, weather and almost empty? Yeah, that note. Well, there's only one letter, so I guess that's the weather. What was the overflowing? World and society overflow too much. So it has to be up, and it is up. So there's only two really full, and this is this is definitely full. So that would be the world and society. So is this society? And world also. So because they are different, so would this... Maybe it is. I don't know. Well, I have to change them if they are even correct. Blue envelopes. We have blue envelopes here, here, and here. Interesting, I can interact with that one letter. Why? Probably I shouldn't. What about the personalities? But they're in the end row. End row, so need to be here. Personalities end row. So are they the same as the... Well, probably. Blue envelopes, politic persons, royal family. But then there's the personalities end row, and that would make sense because we don't have any political persons or royal family per se, so I guess they're personalities then. There must be. Economy has to be up. So it's either here or here. Yeah, we have it. Sports, politics, police and law. Police and law is somewhere here. Wait a minute. What was the one letter? The one letter mentioned about something. Yesterday I randomly placed 3 inventions and science with politics dispatches. After all, they're always harebrained items. Given that the compounds aren't on top of the other, it could have easily passed on one of news. He could easily confuse politics with society section on his right, and this latter with economy, which is its neighbor. So does this mean politics is on the left and society is on the right, and then economy would be also next to society or something like so? But then this cannot be here. Did I read that correctly? Politics with society section on his right. We have politics. So if I put politics here, then society has to be here and world here, not word, world. And then this would be economy. And what was the thing I read? Politics, society, side, sports, under. And then sports would be here. And what do we have left? Culture, inventions, and sciences. He was mixing them. World or society? Or politics? What was overflowing? Is it the world that overflows to police? So that would be police, I think. Police and law. But then culture and inventions and sciences. So inventions and sciences is probably under the politics, because didn't the guy mix up those? Or according to one person could mix up those. I'll try, because we can change these. Is this correct? It is. Whew. My brains are not working as fast as it should be. But why can I...
An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
Okay.
An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
Right. But this is the letter I probably am looking for.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now, I need to open them discreetly. I must try to unglue the openings.
So, water or steam, or preferably both. Okay, what do we have here? Well, I have a can. Teapot, I mean. But I hope there's water in it, so I'll probably put it here. And do I need... yeah, probably fire.
I need something.
Wood would be nice. Maybe I just broke a chair. Or coal or something.
I need something. I need something.
I only have a letter and what am I missing now? Apparently I need something, but I don't have... I don't see any wood here. Can I...
Water. Closed.
Okay, I had water. I thought I need to enter the director's office, but now I have water.
There, that will provide me with steam.
I hope it lights up now. It does. Okay, good.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now, I need to open them.
Yes, are we ready?
Open, and it looks like I'm in luck. This envelope contains precious information.
Okay, I will read this because we will probably end this episode soonish. Testimony of the Smith affair, day of the inquest, Saturday, April 7th, 1888. Mr. Win E. Baxter, the East Middlesex coroner, held in inquiry Saturday, April, at the London hospital respecting the death of Emma Elizabeth Smith, age 45, a widow lately living at 18 George Street, Spitalfields, who it was alleged had been murdered. Chief Inspector West of the H Division of Police attended for the Commissioners of Police. Mrs. Mary Russell, deputy keeper of the common lodging house, stated that she had known the deceased for about 2 years. On the evening of Bank Holiday, 2nd April, she left home at 7 o'clock and returned about 4 or 5 the next morning in the dreadful state. Her face and head were much injured, one of her ears being nearly torn off. She told the witness that she had been set upon and robbed of all her money. Witness took her to the hospital, and when passing along Osborne Street, the deceased pointed out the spot where she was assaulted. She said there were 3 men, but she could not describe them. Mr. George Haslip, house surgeon, stated that when the deceased was admitted to the hospital, she had been drinking but was not intoxicated. She was bleeding from the head and ear and had other injuries of a revolting nature. Oh. Witness found that she was suffering from rupture of the peritoneum, which had been perforated by some blunt instrument used with great force. The deceased told him that at 1:30 that morning she was passing near Whitechapel Church when she noticed some men coming towards her. She crossed the road to avoid them, but they followed, assaulted her, took all the money she had, and then committed the outrage. She was unable to say what kind of an instrument was used, nor could she describe her assailants, except that she said that one was a youth of 19. Death ensued on Wednesday morning, 4th of April, through peritonitis set up by the injuries. Margaret Hayes, living at the same address as the deceased, deposed to seeing Mrs. Smith in company with a man at the corner of Farrant Street and Burdett Road. The man was dressed in dark suit and wore a white silk handkerchief round his neck. He was of medium height, but witness did not think she could identify him. Okay. Chief Inspector West, H Division, stated that he had no official information on the subject and was only aware that the case through the daily papers. He had questioned the constables on the beat, but none of them appeared to know anything about the matter. The coroner said from the medical evidence, which must be true, it was clear that the woman had been purposely murdered. It was impossible to imagine a more brutal and dastardly assault, and he thought the ends of justice would be better met by the jury recording their verdict at once than by adjourning to some future date in the hope of having more evidence brought before them. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown. The police are making every possible inquiry into the case, but up to yesterday, 8 April, had not any clue to the persons who committed the outrage. Oh. Okay. So where's the dressed in dark suit, wore a white silk handkerchief around his neck. He was a medium height, but witness did, so he definitely matches, at least circumstantial, to our Jack the Ripper case. Ah, Tabram. Okay, I might just read this well. I'll have to take a little drink before that. Testimony in the Tabram case. Last day of inquest, Thursday, August 23rd, 1888. Yesterday afternoon, 23rd August, Mr. George Collier, the deputy coroner for Southeast Middlesex, resumed the inquiry at the Working Lads Institute, Whitechapel, into the circumstances attending the death of Martha Turner, or Tabram, a hawker, lately living 4 Star Place, Star Street, Commercial Road E, who was discovered early on the morning of Tuesday, the 7th inst, lying dead on the first floor landing of some model dwellings known as Churchyard Buildings, Commercial Street, Spitalfields. When found, the woman presented a shocking appearance, there being 39 stab wounds on the body, some of them apparently having been inflicted with a bayonet. Alfred George Crowe, cab driver 35, Churchyard Buildings, deposed that he got home at 3:30 on Tuesday morning. As he was passing the first floor landing, he saw a body lying on the ground. He took no notice, as he was accustomed seeing people lying about there. He did not then know whether the person was alive or dead. He got up at 9:30, and when he went down the staircase, the body was not there. Witness heard no noise while he was in bed. Police Constable Thomas Barrett, 226 age, said that the last witness called his attention to the body of the deceased. He sent for a doctor who pronounced life extinct. Dr. T.R. Killeen of 68 Brick Lane said that he was called to the deceased and found her dead. She had 39 stabs on the body. She had been dead some 3 hours. Her age was about 36, and the body was very well nourished. Witness had since made a post-mortem examination of the body. The left lung was penetrated in 5 places, and the right lung was penetrated in 2 places. The heart was penetrated in 1 place, and that would be sufficient to cause death. The liver was penetrated in 5 places, the spleen was penetrated in 2 places, and the stomach was penetrated in 6 places. The witness did not think all the wounds were inflicted with the same instrument. The wounds generally might have been inflicted by knife, but such an instrument could not have inflicted one of the wounds, which went through the chest bone. His opinion was that one of the wounds was inflicted by some kind of dagger, and that all of them were caused during life. Henry Samuel Tabram, 6 River Terrace, East Greenwich, husband of deceased woman, said he last saw her alive about 18 months ago in the Whitechapel Road. They had been separated for 13 years, owing to her drinking habits. She obtained a warrant against him. For some part of the time, witness allowed her 12 shillings a week, but in consequence of her annoyance, he stopped his allowance 10 years ago, since which time he had made it half a crown a week, as he found she was living with a man. Henry Turner, a carpenter staying at the Working Men's Home, Commercial Street, Spitalfields, stated that he had been living with the woman, Tabram, as his wife for about 9 years. 2 or 3 weeks previously to this occurrence, he ceased to do so. He had left her on 2 or 3 occasions in consequence of her drinking habits, but they had come together again. He last saw her alive on Saturday, the 4th inst, in Leadenhall Street. He then gave her 1 shilling 6 pence to get some stock. When she had money, she spent it in drink. While living with witness deceased's usual time for coming home was about 11 o'clock. As far as he knew, she had no regular companion, and he did not know that she walked the streets. As a rule, he said, a man of sober habits, and when the deceased was sober, they usually got on well together. Mrs. Mary Boosfield, wife of the woodcutter residing at 4 Star Place Commercial Road, knew the deceased by the name of Turner. She was formerly a lodger in her house with the man Turner. Deceased would rather have a glass of ale than a cup of tea, but she was not a woman who got continually drunk, and she never brought home any companions with her. She left without giving notice and owed 2 weeks' rent. Mary Ann Connolly, Pierly Paul, who at the suggestion of Inspector Reed was cautioned in the usual manner before being sworn, stated she had been for the last 2 nights living at the lodging house in Dorset Street, Spitalfields. Witness was a single woman. She had known the woman Tabram for about 4 or 5 months. She knew her by the name of Emma. She last saw her alive on Bank Holiday night, when Witness was with her about 3/4 of an hour, and they separated at a 11:45. Witness was with Tabram and 2 soldiers, 1 private and 1 corporal. She did not know what regiment they belonged to, but they had white bands around their caps. After they separated, Tabram went away with the private, and Witness accompanied the corporal up Angel Alley. There was no quarreling between any of them. Witness had been to the barracks. Witness had been to the barracks to identify the soldiers, and the 2 men she picked out were, to the best of her belief, the men she and Abraham were with. The men at the Wellington barracks were paraded before Witness. One of the men picked out by Witness turned out not to be the corporal, but he had stripes on his arms. Detective Inspector Reed made a statement of efforts made by the police to discover the perpetrator of the murder. Several persons had stated that they saw the deceased woman on the previous Sunday with the corporal, but when all the corporals and privates at the Tower and Wellington barracks were paraded before them, they failed to identify the man. The military authorities afforded every facility to the police. Pearly Paul picked out 2 men belonging to the Coldstream Guards at the Wellington barracks. One of those men had 3 good contact stripes, and he was proved beyond doubt to have been with his wife from 8 o'clock on the Monday night until 6 o'clock the following morning. The other man was also proved to have been in barracks at 5 minutes past 10 on Bank Holiday night. The police would be pleased if anyone would give their information of having seen anyone with the deceased on the night of the bank holiday. The coroner, in summing up, said that the crime was one of the most brutal that had occurred for some years. For a poor, defenseless woman to be outraged and stabbed in the manner which this woman had been was almost beyond belief. They could only come to one conclusion, and that was that the deceased was brutally and cruelly murdered. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the author of that crime. On the other hand, there are enough similarities to suggest he may be the killer of Martha Tabram. I must go to the pet shop.
Okay. So we need to go to the pet shop. I don't know to do what. But again, like I said, I probably end this episode right here. There's still one murder to come. I don't know. We are White End, if I remember correctly. There are still puzzles and obviously the end things. I don't know how long that will take. It could be, I'm almost certain that it will take at least an hour, probably more, but I cannot be certain. Also, of course, there are some puzzles still yet to come. I have vague recollection about one of, well, for me, harder puzzle than so far been here. It could be something that I just remember wrong, but I don't know. And definitely there should be at least one murder. So I think there's something left to do. So I think this is the best part to end because it would. I'm almost certain that I couldn't get this game through in less than a half an hour, most likely. And if that happens on the last episode, then it happens. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Until then, goodbye.